And what we got today is a Komatsu 51PX. Having body sensor issues. The body sensor will actually come in and out, in and out. I have changed this body sensor and the cable on it. Yeah, that blade looks about the same as that in the image, so that's good. Now body cross slope. You want to see, just watch these if they're moving. If they're moving too much. I mean, that looks all right. So we'll have to go in there and check the Y cable down underneath the floor. Just give a good inspection of the cable. And you can see the green light flashing. It's getting power. The cable looks good. It doesn't look like he hit anything. Oh, we'll pop the floor out and we'll check the Y cable, one of the cable that comes up and connects, and then it runs up into the B cable, so we can check that too. Just look for any damage, anything that might be shorting out. It's also good to just give that B cable a wiggle and watch the values and see if you lose your sensor. We're not losing anything there, so just shake the cables down there and see if you're losing anything. Do the same thing when you get underneath the floor. So we'll pop the floor out and we'll take a look. Again, when you take the foot pegs up, you see there's no hole all the way through. So just put these bolts back in so you don't get all that dirt inside those holes. And you have to sit there and dig it out. There's already dirt down in there. Alright, we gained access to the wiring harness underneath. That's the blade. Actually, wiggle them, shake them, wiggle them. Nothing. That's the Y cable right there that sometimes causes an issue into these connectors. But we have two identical cables. One should have only 4 wires, while the other one should have all 8. That one's the body right there. That's the body. Oh, guess not. That's the blade. It's interesting. It's going over that way, which is to the body. Maybe it's this one. Has to be that one. That's the only one left. Ah, I see what's happening. I see what's happening. Alright, so both these cables go into the sensor. One is blade, one is body. One should only have 4 wires, while the other one has 8 wires. And the reason why it only has 4 wires is so that it recognizes which one is the blade. We'll fix that. With a Komatsu, it's hard to tell which sensor's actually going to be bad. So what I did is I took a test cable, ran the test cable from each lead into the sensor, just checking the cable, making sure the cable's good. So cable's good on that one. Cable's good on this one. They got green lights. I think that sensor's actually probably bad. We're going to test the sensor. We'll take the cable off, we'll put a new sensor on it, and we'll check it. So, just take your test cable like this and just run it down. I think that's actually a bad cable. It's a generic cable. It's not a Topcon cable, so that's a Topcon cable. This thing's something. Might have got damaged somewhere. Who knows? It's really thin wires, so it's easy to damage. And with the body sensor, if you hit something, it could jar it and break that little thin wire in there. So we'd never find that broken wire if there was one. So let's just jump this, isolate that, check the sensor. Now for the body sensor cable, it's only going to have 4 wires, while the blade sensor has 8 wires. That's how the system knows which one's the blade, which one's the body. This one had 8 wires going to it, so it might have been getting confused, and all along the sensor could have been bad. But I think the cable's bad, but we're about ready to test both. So what I'm going to do, just disconnect here. I have to de-pin this test cable, basically make it look like this one. And then I'm just going to run a brand new sensor on it right in here. When you test these sensors, they have to be in the same orientation as the one that's mounted on the body, which is like this. So you have to physically hold it like this in order to test. And you should see values up here. Right now we're not seeing any values. And that's what the body cable should look like. There's 4 wires. The red and black stay the same. The brown and blue get moved. These other wires, they basically don't go to anything. So all we physically need to do is connect this to our Y cable, which is over here. So hard to do one-handed. Alright. Bolt this sensor like it's mounted, which it's mounted like this. It's got the green light flashing. Still no values. That is interesting. Brand new sensor, brand new cable, brand new Y cable. Power down, start it back up. See if it reads it. Sometimes you got to do a factory reset. new sensor on that blade and try it. These Komatsus are weird. When one sensor goes bad, it shows the whole system bad, like that, until you find the one that actually is bad. So I'll put a new sensor on that and try it. Alright, new blade sensor. She is getting voltage. Let's go see if we have reading. Nothing. Interesting. Power down. Bring it back up. Might have a bad B cable. This one here. So we got two new sensors. I got a brand new cable running over here. I don't have another cable to run as a test cable for the blade, but we should see values. If not, then that system's fine. Something else. Nothing. Interesting. Alright, so this system, which is weird because other systems call for this configuration with the wires. This system, for some reason, calls for red and black are the same, but instead of the blue and brown, it's actually the yellow and green. So I'll just have to snip this and recrimp some ends on it and give that a shot, and that should be it. Now there we go. So it's yellow and green, not brown and blue, which is interesting. And we have all our values back. So the intermittent problem with this one was because it was using the brown and the blue wire, and it was all wired up. It doesn't need all those extra wires on there. So what I'm going to do is I had cut these off, and I don't have the right pins. For some reason, those are really tiny pins. I'm just going to run this new cable and be done with that. So here we just need to remove our green clamps, remove the cable, and we're going to just take this complete cable and hose out, because we're going to have to replace the hose. Once you crimp this hose down, that's it. It's no good after that. You're not going to be able to get another cable through it. Well, maybe we could. I don't know. This one's awful thin. I don't know. Possibly. We'll try it. We'll try to salvage that hose. Now once you disconnect that from the body sensor, it should just pull out nice and easy. Unless it's zip tied. Yep, still a couple zip ties on it. And the cable is out. And the only reason why I'm replacing the entire cable is I do not have these little tiny pins that go on the end for these little tiny wires. So I'm going to have to get some of those. Usually we use better wire than that. But anyway, I'm putting a better hose, better cable on it. So we're going to reuse this hose. Just stick our new cable through it. Just feed this end of the cable through to where you can grab it. Should be able to grab it. It's tight. Man, it's tight in there. Wow. Pull it through. I think that thing shut down on its own. Alright, and once we got it up in there, and just line up these green clamps and just start putting the green clamps on. Alright, everything works, so that's good. So, to reiterate, the body cable, it only has 4 wires, but some are wired blue and brown, or brown and blue, and some are wired yellow and green. This one happens to be wired yellow and green. So, if you buy a cable, make sure you're buying the right cable. Alright, floor's back in, ready to be tested. Yeah, it just needs to be initialized. Just rock the blade back and forth until it goes. Come on. Come on. Wow. Why aren't you initializing? There you go. Good Lord. Wow, there it goes. Finally, good grief. Took a while to read that sensor for some reason. I had it disconnected and I had a new one on there. I think it liked the new one better than the one that's on there. That's all that is. Alright, check our values. Alright, so all we need to do now is just basically take that rover and test. Make sure we have good measurements for this project. And just comparing, check the blade. We're about 900s high with the rover, which isn't too bad. Good on north, and dead on north, dead on east, and just a touch high, but I have to assume it's because of what they got on there, so good to go. Machine is done. Alright, let me explain that a little bit better so that y'all understand what I just went through. Let me turn these wipers off. They're kind of annoying. Come on, turn off, you. Oh, good grief. Anyways, alright, so if you changed out your body cable, your body sensor cable, and you bought it straight from a Topcon dealer, it's most likely going to be a factory body sensor cable, and it's going to be wired like this. So number 8 will be red, number 1 will be black, number 2 will be brown, number 3 will be blue. But if you take a blade straight cable, which can be modified into a body sensor cable, basically all you're doing is removing number 7, 6, 5, and 4. You're removing orange, blue, white, and brown. As you see, the yellow and the green stay the same. You're not even using the blue and the brown, which is so weird, and that was the conflicting information that I just went through, and that was trial by fire. I had to learn that, you know, through figuring it out, basically. So, factory cable, use it as you get it. It should be black and brown and blue, with red on top, number 8. If you're going to modify a straight cable, which you can do, then all you need to do is pull number 7, 6, 5, and 4. You're only using yellow and green in place of the brown and blue. So they're going to look different. You don't go by the colors. So that's how it is.